In my last video, I talked about Berkshire Hathaway and why I thought that was a good buy at that price, and why I think even after Warren Buffett leaves, I think it's still going to be a very successful stock company, however you want to refer to it as, fund, whatever. And in this video, I want to talk about a different stock, since that video did really well for my channel. And this stock is a stock I would love to see drop more, like back where it was in March, like back in the 140s or the 150s. And it's a stock I think it's going to see a lot of growth over the coming years, and a stock I'm really excited about. And that stock is Facebook. Now keep in mind, this video isn't going to be completely 100% transparent and in-depth on Facebook, because I just don't feel the need to, because this channel is more for beginning investors, and I think that if you're putting your financial lives in my hands, and that's just wrong, because I'm not a financial advisor, and you shouldn't be doing that with a random person on the internet by any means. And again, like I just said, I don't want to confuse any of the new people or the new investors on my channel. This is just simply to get a little bit of my consensus around Facebook out, so you have my opinion on it, a little bit of my thought process. You get the picture. Now, I can see the reason why someone might not be bullish on Facebook, from the scandals to the ad boycott to just the virus. People don't want to advertise on Facebook because people can't do as much, and they don't want to do as much, and advertising on Facebook's expensive, and they simply just don't want to do it because they don't feel like it's worth it right now. And I see where they're coming from, and that's obviously going to hurt Facebook's revenue in turn. But regardless, personally, I really like Facebook. I really like the business model. I really like the direction it's going in, and I am full-blown all aboard the Facebook train. So let's get into the business model and just talk about that first before we get into my opinion on the stock, whether it's a buy now or not. Looking at the business model, Facebook is not just Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram, they own Facebook Messenger, they own WhatsApp, they own Oculus. We're not going to get into the cryptocurrency part of it because I just don't even want to lose people, because I think that could send people way out to left field. So we're not going to touch upon that. Like I said, this is a very beginner video. We're not going completely in depth here. But for starters, look at where society is going. I remember when I was a kid, if you wanted to get in touch with someone and you didn't have their phone number, you had a couple of ways to go about it. You could either, one, just wait till you saw them again and ask them for their number, or ask whatever you wanted to ask them. Or you could look up their number in a phone book and call them. Things are very different now than they were when I was a kid many, many moons ago. If you need to get in touch with someone, and I do this too, and it's something urgent or maybe a quick question or whatever the case may be, and I don't have their phone number, a lot of times I just look them up on Facebook or Facebook Messenger and just shoot them a message. And I don't think people think that's weird by any means. Like, I've done it for work purposes, I've done it for friends of friends, for planning stuff. I just think that's the way people do it nowadays, because it's very easy, it's very convenient, and it just works, it seems like. And on top of that, Facebook's expanding to multiple generations. They have a bigger target population. At first, when Facebook first came out, it was mainly college kids, mid-20s, early 20s, like that type of age. But now look at it, like parents have Facebook, parents communicate through Facebook, grandparents have Facebook and communicate through Facebook. The college kids still use it, high school kids, even younger, like elementary, middle school kids use it. So it's a very, very wide target population. Anyway, you can probably guess this by the way I talked about it earlier in the video. And I don't think people really understand how Facebook makes money. I don't think they truly understand how profitable Facebook can be, at least a very, very new investor per se. Like I said before, Facebook brings in most of its revenue through ads, which, I mean, that's the biggest part of their income stream. That's number one. Bar none, definitely the highest up on the list. So what does that mean when a lot of their revenue is based off of ads? It means they need a lot of users in order to make that money. And like I just talked about, they have a wide target population, so more and more people from each age group are going to use it, which means people are going to pay more and more because they can get ads out to more and more people. To build off of that, as you can see by Facebook's daily active users, by this chart, they've basically gone up in a straight line, with their daily active users being over 1 billion after Q1. You can definitely see how that's built from the daily active users in 2011, when Facebook only had 372 million. And if you look at the monthly active users, that's over 2.5 billion compared to the 100 million that it once was in 2008. That was back when it was primarily college kids in the early stages of Facebook. Now, moving on, let's get to the balance sheet, because everyone knows when I buy a stock, especially a value stock, I really love a good balance sheet. And Facebook's got one of the best in the market, I feel like, personally. Looking at the sales and revenue over the last 5 years, I mean, starting at 8 billion in 2015 and now working its way up to over 70 billion in 2019. I mean, what else do I need to say? That's clearly some really big growth right there. They also have 140 billion in assets, over 60 billion in cash and cash equivalents, and they really don't have a lot of debt. compared to a lot of other companies, like there's really not much there. Like that's just not a lot of debt by any means at all. And I really think this balance sheet kind of matches up with Google and Apple. I mean, those are two of the best companies out there. Like those are definitely some of the most profitable companies. And I really think this matches up with that. Now let's look at some estimates for Facebook coming up. For this year, the EPS is supposed to be $6.43, and we'll see next year it's supposed to be $7.26. We'll see if that shakes out based on how this virus looks, but that's what it's projected to be per se. Again, we'll see. You can't fight the Fed, so maybe, but who knows what's gonna happen. But more importantly, they're also supposed to grow sales and revenue this year by over 10% and next year by over 24%. Again, we're gonna see how that happens based on the virus, this and that. There's a lot of factors that go into play, but that's their projections. So after looking to a very, 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 very brief outlook on Facebook, what do I think? Do I think that Facebook stock is a buy now or what? Now let me start by saying that when I bought Facebook a couple months ago, it was at a much, much greater value. It was at like $140 or $150 or something like that. It was very low. It's very, very undervalued. But say you don't own any Facebook shares, should you buy it now? And honestly, it's not the worst thing you can do. I see a lot of growth in Facebook coming up, from daily and monthly active users to sales and revenue. And I think honestly, once this virus does pass and everything goes back to normal, it's gonna be really hard to compete with the amount of money Facebook's bringing in. It's getting to a point where if you're some sort of corporation and you're not advertising on Facebook, where are you advertising? Because Facebook just keeps continuing to grow and grow at a silly rate. And it's just, where else are you putting your money exactly for your advertisements and marketing? So bottom line, do I think Facebook is a buy now? Yes, and if it goes under 200, even 220, maybe if it goes under 220, I might buy some more. But if it goes under 200, I am definitely gonna buy some more and then make that into a bigger position. Again, I am a random guy talking to a camera in my room, so do your own research, read the 10K, read the 10Q, listen to the conference call. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something about Facebook. I hope you decide to look into Facebook, and let me know in the comments if you do. I will see you guys in the next video where we're going to break down another stock, more of a spec play, but this one I'm feeling pretty good about.